Because I said we could keep the post chat short, but I
Yeah.
forgot that I watched Tell It Like a Woman.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. We want to. Yeah. Give me a brief synopsis.
Okay, so Tell It Like a Woman. It was my last Oscar marathon movie that I watched, and it was only
You ended it with a
nominated for.
whimper.
Yeah. uh, it uh was only nominated for best song, which was Applause by Diane Warren, which is like the most Oscar baity type song. Like if you
Yeah.
listen to the lyrics and like everything, it's
Well,
ridiculous. It almost
well,
seems
we
like a
listened to
parody.
it. It was on the stream. It was on like the live performance, and like she did
Yeah.
not look like she wanted to be there.
No. Yeah. And I
She did
remember
not look stoked.
the chick who was singing was like 14-time Academy Award nominated Diane Warren, everybody. And she like
14 times nominated, still hasn't won.
Yeah.
Maybe tonight's the night. Nope.
yeah. But okay, so in short, the movie it's an anthology. It's 7 short films. But there's like no connecting theme or anything other than they're about women and they're like
Okay.
made by women. But as far like they could have just been 7 short films. Like the putting them together in a feature film makes like they're usually if you do like an anthology, they kind of have like a through line, a similar theme
Yeah.
or something like that.
This is just ladies. It's just ladies
It's just
in them.
it's just gals being ladies or whatever.
Okay.
And I would say probably it starts off with the worst shit. There was one short where I was like, man, if I saw this by itself, it would be very forgettable and nothing, but it was like the shining beacon of like this is okay. But everything
Oh.
else was fucking garbage.
Oh.
Yeah, probably like definitely the worst movie of last year. Probably one of the worst movies I've seen in recent years.
Was it just like milk toast, like 2016 era, like feminism type stuff where?
Yeah, kind of. So the first 2 were actually based on real women, and they end with like they show like the real person, and they're like, this is what happened to them after this. And the first one's like this chick who's in prison and she's schizophrenic, and so you see her like the voice that talks to her. It's her also, but like
Yeah.
you see the voice of her like talking to her, and then like she goes to this psychiatric ward or whatever, and she gets help, and it's like and the thing ends with like and she was cured of her schizophrenia, and I was like, that's bullshit.
But
then it was like
that works.
but then it was like this is her now, and she's like an old lady, and she like works in some like activism
she's
thingies. So it's like so
she's just like
did. Yeah. Yeah, I don't. So I'm like, okay, so you can. She is cured. I'm really confused. And
yeah.
then the next one was about this lady who like helps homeless people. I'm not sure exactly, but it's Marcia Gay Harden and some other chick, and they're like they go up on this building, and there's this like homeless chick there played by Cara Delevingne. And she just has like she's got all this fucking dirty food and shit all around her, and she's wearing like layers and layers of clothes. And the entire short is they go up there, and goddamn, it's like 5 minutes of them just like using scissors to like cut these layers of clothes off her. And man, it makes you feel really icky, which is probably like the intent. Like you feel so gross watching this. And
I'd like to see Cara Delevingne as like the the guy behind Winkies in Mulholland Drive. Like
yeah,
she's got like the huge ghillie suit type thing on, just looks crusty.
Yeah, she had these like big ass dreads, but that was like the whole short. They did that, and then they were like, "Okay, don't kill yourself," and then she's like, "Maybe," and then
that's their resolution. Is like, yeah, probably not.
I mean, I'm exaggerating a little bit.
Oh,
but yeah, and then yeah, I don't, and then like a few of them were forgettable. There was the one that was like decent was about this. It was just kind of like a week in the life of this single mother with 2 children in Japan, and it was just kind of like cute. There's like a little resolution to it, and yeah, it's like if I'd seen it anywhere else, I probably would have 100% forgotten about it by now. But since it was like sandwiched right in the middle of all this, I was like, oh yeah, okay, yeah, that was all right.
Okay.
And then it ends with this bizarre, like maybe 8 minutes, the shortest of the shorts, animated thing. It's like an animated music video almost, because there's no dialogue or anything. And it's like this is a good example of like this is a microcosm of like what the movie is as a whole, because it's very simple, but basically all the same stories are like this like basic, like you said, like basic ass feminism. It's like this kind of gray humanoid thing is like in this little capsule. It's like a little apartment kind of thing. There's a bed and there's a TV, and then the window breaks and they like look outside, and suddenly they're like pink and they have like fiery hair or whatever, and they can fly, and they fly around, and there's all these other like capsules that are identical. They all have the same like gray looking people, and they fly around and they like smash another window, and then that person comes out and now they're colorful, and then they go to other windows and they break out everyone, and everyone's out and everybody's colorful now, and nobody's gray and boring anymore. Everybody's free and stuff. And that's basically the gist of the rest of it.
There was like a web comic that I remember everyone was shitting on for a while. That was like, I think it was like trying to be like feminist, but it tried so hard that it ended up being like weirdly.
Got so far.
It's like the like, I'm a nerdy girl, and if you're a big boobed bimbo, that means you're bad at feminism. But it's like, I don't know, both of those types of people exist and can also be feminists at the same time. Where it's just like this like internalized misogyny, but it was like normal girl baking a cake, like cool girl baking a cake, and it was like the inside of the oven, and it was like a dragon with flames, and she's got colorful hair, as if like that's the only qualifier that you need to be cool and interesting.
Right.
I was just and I'm just thinking like, what if I'm just picturing like the animation studio that made that, it's just like hundreds of like underpaid like Indian dudes on Fiverr that they hired to like animate this. There's like, yeah, female empowerment, and we're paying you $2 an hour to animate this for 10 hours a day, 6 days a week. I don't know, that kind of shit just naturally makes you want to be cynical. Like I'm sure that's not the case, but it's like with something that's like basic and boring as that, I was like, yeah, you know, to like everyone else who's like been online or been aware of like any sort of cultural movement in the last year or so, you're like, yeah, duh, yes, I get it.
Yeah.
Like it's just, it's weird to like do this Oscar baity shit in 2023 with like those old ass like pop feminism politics that's just like purely aimed at like normies.
Yeah. And the way the way this song is used in the movie is so blatant too. It's at the end of the sixth short, which is about this like this really pretty, it's like in India or something, this really pretty business woman or something. Maybe she's like a fashion designer, I forget. But she like runs into this trans woman. Okay. And after she had like seen her previously, and she like got into the same rickshaw as her, and then the pretty woman like left because, you know, ew, gross, a trans. And then she like finds her later, and then she's like, yeah, well, I'm a person too, da da da. And then she's like, yeah, you're right, you are. And then like it starts raining, and the trans woman gets up, and she like reaches her hand back to the pretty lady. And then they like get up and they're dancing in the rain, and the music is playing and stuff, and that's how that one ends. It's ridiculous.
Oh my god.
And then
I get the sentiment, but come on.
Yeah. And then it plays it twice during the credits, once during like they just like show the music video for the for the for the song. I'm gonna send that to you, and you should watch that afterwards. That's actually like that's a good way to get like, and it's short too. You know, you don't have to watch a whole fucking short film. Yeah.
It just sorry. One day we'll finish 30 Rock and I'll stop referencing it. But that just sounds like a Jenna Maroney, like, and I get to sing my song now, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Because like that's her whole thing. He's like, you know, whatever situation it is, she's like, all right, I'll sing a song. It's a funeral, like, yeah, I'll do one.
Yeah.
Just like inserting it, just arbitrarily, clearly trying to go for the award.
Mm-hmm.
And what got best song? Was that the Natu Natu?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely, man. Whew. Man, if applause won, holy shit.
Well, I got a question for you. Did any of the ladies in that short film meet a dog?
All right. Welcome back, ladies and gents, to episode 91 of There'll Be Duds. And I am your co-host, TJ Taylor, and with me as always.
Whoa, got the full name.
I guess I don't usually do that. TJ,
no.
J Spudjax, however I go, whatever. That's not my name.
As always, I'm Nick, aka Dr. Funk on Twitch.
And as always, we watched a fucking movie this week. That movie this week being Love on a Leash from 2011, directed by Fen Tian, or as I discovered in my research, Jennifer Ten is maybe their actual name. Who knows? It's kind of hard to find information on this movie, but it is about a dog or a guy reincarnated as a dog named Alvin Flang, maybe it's just Prince. He needs to fall in love, find true love. It's kind of your Beauty and the Beast type thing. He's got to find true love so he can be a man. And then he finds this girl named Lisa, and he's kind of just like an asshole when he's a dog the whole time, but somehow it works. Kind of. Only halfway, because he can only be a man at night.
Or if there's no clouds.
If there's no sunlight, yeah.
Which is something we learn with 10 minutes left of the movie.
And then end of synopsis. I don't even know where to start. There's like a million different subplots with this movie. Within
the first 30 minutes,
mm-hmm.
so much happens.
Yeah. Yeah.
I started watching this last night, and as soon as the dog started talking, and just the way the dog was talking and the way that it was like carrying out, I was like, this is something special.
Yeah.
And then like the babbling brook started talking too, and I was like, there were multiple times I just had to pause this and be like, what on earth is going on? It's this movie is like a dream.
Yeah.
Like literally,
kind of is,
like
yeah.
You're walking somewhere and then you're in a completely different location and in a completely different time of day with different people. Yeah. It's like it's so jarring in the way that it just moves from one thing to another.
It really, it really is. It's very Lynchian in that way almost, like
unintentionally.
Yeah, for example, it's the scene where he like first meets Lisa in the park, and then she's like runs off to go catch her friend or something like that, and he's like, "No, I can't let a beautiful woman get away. Don't run away, babe." And then it cuts, and he's like, "I know how to make a babe stay." And he's like at a gas station, and she's right there. She's wearing different clothes, but it's like the way that it's cut, it looks like he's like running, and then he's just like he's running in the park, and then he's running at the gas station. So it looks like one kind of fluid thing from his perspective. But then, yeah, her car's there and she's there, and it's like, she, she was in the park.
There's-
God, please help me find a real man.
You don't need a god. I'm right here.
What? Are you dogging me too? What do you know about this, dog?
I will not let a chick get away. I know how to get a chick. They're suckers for the helpless act.
There's no sense of time or place
Yeah,
whatsoever.
Not,
There
not
was
at all.
like
The one
I
guy
just-
being like, "Lisa, we've been dating for quite a while now." It's like, oh, okay, I guess so. If you say so.
sure, dude. Was that Kyle,
I think so.
the one of the many dudes that tries to sexually assault her throughout this movie?
Yeah.
Something about people named Lisa. Like
Yep.
I was like, oh, The Room. Like this is the same shit. Just
Yep. And there's a mark too.
oh, there is.
Yeah.
Where it just and the thing is like when I was looking this up and like finding out that the director was like, okay, so like this lady was born in like 1939.
Yeah.
So by 2011, she's easily
70.
Like what?
71, 72.
yeah, she's in her 70s. This type of movie screams like 50-year-old dude who's like, all right, I'm independently wealthy somehow. I'm going to make a movie in LA and I'm going to basically like make a movie where hot girls crawl all over me because like the actresses are desperate for credits, so they'll do whatever. Cuz like there's plenty of shots whereas like I feel like there's like upskirt shots early on. There's like a few upskirt shots. There's like, you know, the one woman is like trying on pants and it's just like the camera's right under her ass.
Yeah.
Right. And then like I forget her friend's name. I don't remember her name. The grandmother at the end when she has 4 kids.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's like they're like in the middle of a park, but she's wearing like a bikini for some reason. I was like, okay, this is clearly written by like a 50-year-old horny guy that's like trying to get young actresses to just be all smooth on it. But no, it's like a 70-year-old Chinese woman
Yeah.
who through, you know, this interview that we both kind of watched with the comedian who does the voice of the dog. I mean, obviously English is a second language. Screams that too. Just like the way that like no human being knows how to talk to each other.
Yeah, the way that he described it was that, this is Stephen Kramer Glickman who did the voice of the dog. He said that the script was written in Chinese and basically they used Google Translate to get it into English. And yeah, that makes some of the lines make a little more sense. But yeah, and apparently he said that like she loves it, which is good. Like that's what you need. That's what you need. You need somebody who is like genuine and like they think that they're making a masterpiece. That's where the magic really is. Self-awareness just destroys these kinds of movies.
Yeah, and like that's the formula is very like earnest intent, earnest attempt with just wild incompetence. And not being a native English speaker helps. Tommy Wiseau, The Room is just this is the Room of like talking dog movies.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it's funny because I was thinking of Quigley watching this and how when we were watching Quigley and just like
This is Citizen Kane.
Yeah.
Quigley is Citizen Kane in comparison to this.
Citizen Canine.
Yeah. There we go.
Yeah, like I remember watching Quigley and just thinking how like this doesn't feel like a movie. And then relative to that, Love on the Leash feels like even less of a movie than that. There's although this was answered, so this is like half weird. There's still plenty of other weirdness without this, but the the score. The score is non-existent, and there was a score. There's a composer credited.
Yeah.
It apparently there was no like contracts signed for this.
Okay.
So basically, when it was sold to Amazon, which is how most people have seen it at this point, and the one on YouTube that we watched is an Amazon rip, I'm sure.
Yeah.
They basically didn't have the rights to their own music, so instead of replacing it, I guess they just uploaded it without the music.
Yeah, well, yeah. To the listener or the viewer, that's the other thing, is that it is largely silent.
Yeah,
Like
completely
to the point
silent. Like
where you
no
would
white
almost think that
noise,
there's something
no-
wrong.
yeah, yeah,
And then like the first line of dialogue is a jump scare.
yeah. No girls or whatever.
Like you can hear like the hiss
Yeah.
of like, them bringing up the audio for the voice and
Mm-hmm.
then cutting it back down to like complete silence. But then there's also like random spots where it cuts in and out.
Yeah.
Like
You'll
I-
just hear the hiss with no lines.
or it's like, were you trying to like remove like traffic sounds or like ambient sounds of like the location where you were filming at, but it would cut out and then come back and then cut out and then just seemingly random at times.
Yeah.
Where is everybody? Where are the ladies at? No girls, no fun, man. No girls, no fun. Hey, lay off, man. I'm not gay.
The Lisa character, I
Fuck, wild character.
I thought that she was like a crackhead on the streets that he found. Because I feel like there are like certain scenes where it's just like it looks like she has sores on her lip and forehead.
Oh.
And I was like, is this just a crackhead in this movie?
Okay, this is another thing that Kalia noticed was her terrible fucking hair extensions. Because she cuts her hair a little ways into the movie, but yeah, when she has longer hair, yeah, it's like some of the worst extensions I've ever seen. Like, it looks like she has like a mullet, and then she's wearing like a bowl cut wig on top of it almost. Yeah, so apparently, and this is again basically all stuff that I learned from that interview. That's like, because there's nothing on the fucking Wikipedia. There's the IMDb page is hardly even there.
It is insane how sparse the information is on any of these platforms for such a wild ride of a movie.
Yeah.
That there's like nothing.
Yeah, nothing. Yeah. So the thing with her having like acne or whatever is because she's a virgin or whatever. It's like it's like as she, falls in love with whatever Prince, Alvin Flang, whatever the fuck his name is, she like her complexion improves because she's in love, and that like does away with that stuff. That also apparently in China, the color green equals horny.
Yes.
But
Yes.
still, even knowing that, even getting like, because watching it, you're like, okay, there has to be a point to this green. And even knowing that, like, I kept finding myself being like, but why is there so much? I noticed there's a part where human dog, Prince, whatever God, I don't know. I think his name is Prince, like, because everyone calls him that, and even though that's just the name that she arbitrarily gave him, but the voiceover guy said that the director just told him to like make up a name. So literally, like, Alvin Flang came from the voiceover actor just like making up a name on the spot.
Okay.
But yeah, there's a part where human Prince is making some food, and I noticed like the knife handles were green, the like cap on the like olive oil is green, it's
Such a weird thing to hyperfixate on.
Yeah.
And it's like, is she really even like that horny in the movie? It seems
Everyone's horny in this movie.
that is
Like,
true.
everyone.
Everyone wants to bone this lady except for
Yeah.
Kyle, who's gay.
Right. Yeah.
I was laughing so hard when like that scene was like almost harrowing. I was like, okay, this is gonna be like a green card thing. Like he wants to get married so he can stay in the country, but then he's like, I'm gay. You can do whatever you want, but you need to have a child for me. And and there's like a scene where she's just like crying. She's like, oh,
Yeah.
Kyle's gay.
Yeah.
And it's like, even like the scene where you're supposed to like be sympathetic for this character is so unintentionally funny.
Yeah.
What was the scene where like the dog was like, I'd rather kill myself?
Oh, I forgot which one.
There's
I know
like-
the line you're talking about, but
There are so many like horrific scenes where it's clear that like the Stephen Kramer Glickman was just like, he just came in and recorded. I don't know if he like had him riff or just kind of come up with shit on the dome, but like it's the scene where like her boss from the clothing store essentially like tries to rape her in her house.
yeah.
And she's just like laying on the couch crying, and the dog's like, I'm a dog in a house. And you're like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
She's just like, this is like this traumatic harrowing experience. He's like, I'll never be a man because I'm a dog. And it's like, they clearly, they're like, all right, Mr. Glickman, all right, and this is your reading for the rape scene, and he's like, okay, here we go, and then it's just like riff on a dumb song.
Yeah.
Now I'm the king of the castle. King of the castle! King of the castle that's also a dog and lives in a house that is green. What is that about?
There is no, like, I'm trying to think of the word that, like, there's no, I guess correlation kind of works between like the dog. I figured, I'd said to Kalia like partway through that, I was like, this is like Hulk and Bruce Banner, where it's like the Hulk is not Bruce Banner. It's like a separate personality within him. And that's like what the dog and the human are, because every time he's the human, he's like, oh, I want to take care of you, and I want to, I want to provide for you, and blah, blah, blah. I love you. I want you to love me forever. But then, like, he switches back to the dog.
He's like, kick rocks, bitch.
Yeah, the part where she's like, I fucking lost it at the end where she's drowning in the pool, and he's like, oh, okay, grab on, you pizza face cinder block.
How stupid. What kind of idiot doesn't know how to swim? You made me lose face in front of everyone, and now you want me to save you? It's not fair. It's not fair at all. All right, grab on, you pizza face cinder block.
As he was like just a person right before that, and was like, yeah, I'm here to support her and stuff.
Oh. Man, I got a kick out of the scene when, like, the first... Okay, so I have the movie pulled up on my other screen. And 27 minutes in, we get the first scene where the dog turns into the human. I don't know why, because it's like... I don't know if it's because it's raining or what it is, but he turns into the human. And one of the biggest laughs I got...
I think that's where she, like, loves... That's where she says that she, like, loves him. So
is that like after all of her other relationships have sort of like petered out or failed, like the weird like yes mother? That was like the only scene where it was like kind of like, okay, this is kind of like a joke. Like,
is that where her
like,
mom's where she talks to her mom on the phone?
No, it's the dude.
And
it's the dude that's
the
like
night of the hunter shot. Did you think of that too?
I did think of that. Yeah. You're right. I did think of that. No, it's the dude that's like, he shows up at the store. And he's like, I need a dress for my wife. She's like, oh, what size is she? She's like, and he's like, oh, she's your size. I was like, oh, well, and he basically is like hitting on her. And then she's like, I'm a gynecologist and also like a food scientist. Like, there's just so many weird little things. Like, I need my son to be the president of the United States, but you need to get your tubes tied. And I'm just like, yeah, all right, I'm following along.
Yeah.
But yeah, so all those relationships failed.
Yeah.
But no, sorry. What I was saying is, like, that's like the only time there's like sort of like an actual joke when the guy's like, she's like, I need to talk to her alone. And he's like, okay, mother. And he like walks away. She's like, the teapot. And he brings it back. He's like, okay, mother. Like, I was like, okay, that's kind of a joke. It's not a good one, but it's kind of a joke.
Yeah.
But so the scene when, yes, all those relationships are exhausted. And then she's like with the dog in the rain. I like laughed so hard. He turns into the human and she's like kind of still clutching his legs as if he were the dog. And there's a shot where he turns into the human and he's just like, it's almost like he didn't even know that they were filming. But like the camera's up on him and he's just like looking down at the camera. It's just like supposed to be this big romantic moment.
It's it's like when you turn your camera on, like
the rear face. Yes.
Yeah.
When it's like when you accidentally hit the front facing camera and you're like,
yeah.
like that's what he looks like. 27:44 is the timestamp if you want to put that in.
Okay.
But it's like supposed to be this big romantic moment. He's just like looking down at her.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember I paused it there because I was expecting Beauty and the Beast or how any of these happen where it's like the whole movie you're building up to this and then it's like that's like the climax is like now he's human and they can be together happily ever after. But it happens, I was like, it got to that point, I was like, what the fuck? I'm like, there's still like a lot left. But then I saw that it was 27 minutes, and I was like, "There's no fucking way it's only been a half an hour." I said that I was like, so much shit has happened already.
She tries to kill herself.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
This is like right after her suicide attempt.
Yeah, that's right.
I feel like the editing was almost comedic, where like the dog pretends to lay in the road. Yes, 911. Someone here passed out. Boom. Garfield Medical Center. Boom. Dog sitting outside the hospital. He's walking and it's daytime the next day. And he's singing a blues song about I gotta live on my own.
Hard and also it hurts my feet 'cause I'm a dog and it hurts my feet when it's hot outside 'cause I'm a dog.
Yeah, it's like nighttime and then she's walking home in the fake rain.
Oh man.
It's like less than 30 seconds. It doesn't show her in the hospital. It doesn't show her like dealing with the trauma of like trying to kill herself. It's just, yeah. And then, I mean, I feel like the movie kind of meanders in the middle a little bit, but the first 30 minutes, so much happens. 3 different guys hit on her, and like none of it works out, but it's just like they introduce things and then abandon them. Like crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, because like,
like
there's 3 different romance subplots in the first 30 minutes. She tries to kill herself. I mean 4 if you count the main, if you count the dog.
Yeah, I guess.
4 romance subplots. There's the thing with like her mom's friend, because I don't think her mom comes in until a little later, but like her mom's like the one with like the weird accent. That's like it's like akin to Isaiah in Avengers, where she's kind of slipping in and out of it the whole time.
Yeah.
And then
I thought the mom was dead because of she's like, oh well, if it weren't for this smog, your mom would be around. And I was like, did she die of smog?
Oh,
is that what killed her? Like, what?
And then going back to like the guy's mom, I'm like they kind of inadvertently wrote like there's good like motivation in a way for why or how Lisa could fall in love with a dog and how she'd be okay with this weird relationship where her husband is only a person at night and it's like nobody would ever like be okay with that, but you get like unintentionally, I think it provides good reason or good like source for like why she's like that, why she accepts that, because like you get that bit where she goes to the guy's house and then the mom's like, yeah, we want our babies to be exceptional, so you can't have any kids. And for most of it, she's just like, okay, yeah, okay. It's not until she tells her to get her tubes tied that she's like, that's a little bit too much. But she's like, when she's like, yeah, you know, you can't have any other kids. And like, how long has she been dating this guy?
Our future president raised on technology.
Yeah,
that's
right. Yeah. And like, it's like the first time she's met this guy's mom, and like, it doesn't matter what they're asking you, right? Like, if you met your in-laws and the first thing they do is like, hey, daughter or son, I need to talk to your SO alone, and then like they're like, hey, these are the rules for how this works, I'd be like, okay, I'm out. Or you know, you'd like have a talk with them. But she's like, okay, yeah, I guess this is what's happening now. And then later with her mom and her mom's friend, they're like, oh, so you have a boyfriend? Oh, that's great. Well, you guys need to meet us at the courthouse tomorrow because we're getting you a marriage license, and if he doesn't come, you need to dump him. And she's like, oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, I guess so. Okay, yeah, we'll do that. And then she goes, and then he doesn't because he's a dog, because he's a dog.
Yeah.
And then they're like, yeah, you need to get, you know, I'm going to disown you now. And she's like, oh, man,
Yeah.
this all makes sense. This is how life should work.
I deserve this.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like I thought they were gonna like do more with, because that seemed to, that, you know, that's, I guess if you want to give this movie like a central conflict, it's her being in a relationship. Because at the beginning, it seems like her whole thing is just like, I'm a virgin.
Mm-hmm.
But then she's like praying to God to like find a romantic partner. But like even like the religious bit is quickly abandoned. The virgin bit is quickly abandoned.
Yeah.
Like, do they consummate their relationship? Because she definitely wakes up like sleeping next to the dog.
There's, I mean, I would
One-
assume that like like less convincing, and this is a fucking feat, less convincing like sex scene than The Room. Like literally, you'd put like The Room has better sex scenes than this movie.
Yeah,
and that is not an exaggeration.
Mark going to town on Lisa's belly button.
Even the ones with Tommy Wiseau, I don't give a fuck. Like, it's ridiculous. I was so uncomfortable for the sex scenes in this movie. It was so weird. It felt like, because he's fucking naked. He's naked half the fucking time he's a human.
Yeah.
And then so he's there. They're kind of laying in bed. You know, they're cheating towards the camera. She has like this tank top on, or maybe she has the button-up blouse in the first one.
Yeah.
And he's like slowly undoing it. Yeah, because then she has like the Lilu bandage. underneath.
Yes.
And he's like slowly taking it off, and every time he like touches her, she's like,
Yeah.
it's like she's like a little kid, and he is trying to have sex with her, but like it's like I'm not speaking from experience here, but it's like how you would you know, maybe she's playing up because she's a virgin, but it's like she doesn't know what to do. Like she literally, like, her brain can't comprehend.
It's
what's
like a couple
going
of high schoolers like fooling around. It's like that
Yeah.
awkward high schooler age where you're like, we're fooling around, we don't really know what we're doing, but we're trying shit out, and I guess we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And which is insane even more because, again, according to that interview, those two got married in real life, and they like have
What?
have a family, and they quit the business after that. Yeah.
Are you goddamn kidding me?
Apparently, that's
Holy shit.
that's what Alvin Flang said. Yeah. Like zero chemistry. But-
Yeah. What? Well, I feel like, what's her name? Jaina Camp.
Yeah.
Even in the movie, she's credited as Jaina Camp, even
Which
though
is-
her character's name is clearly Lisa.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anise Kamo, that's the other dude.
Yeah.
Very, very little is known about either of them. Well, I mean, obviously, if they quit the business, then, like, yeah, it makes sense.
I do
But-
like that the human one is credited as Prince, and then Stephen Kramer Glickman is credited as Alvin Flang.
So I kept seeing that in the YouTube comments. Is there any point where they say that name, Alvin Flang?
No. That
Okay.
so they Stephen Kramer Glickman said that like they basically presented the completed movie to him, like it was edited and
Okay.
everything, and then they were like, okay, now we want you to do voiceover for this, and he came up with the name Alvin Flang. So during the entirety of filming, nobody even knew, the concept of it being even named Alvin Flang was not a thing. He came up with it after they shot the movie.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's wild.
And he just came up with the name. Like, it could have been any name. It was just the one that he came up with. It's good. It's a good one to come up with. It's a good name, I think.
Yeah, I was reminded of Gex
Okay.
with what's Dana Gould, just like doing the sort of like voiceovers for Gex. It was like, yeah, all right, this is the prompt, this is the location. I'll riff on this topic. Like it just seemed like that. Like the comedian is like, all right, well, he's a dog, and what would a dog think about being alone outside? And he's like,
Yeah.
hey, I'm a dog and I'm sad because I'm outside. Like, but it's just, if he doesn't know the rest of the movie, if he's doing that devoid of like the rest of the movie, it's just so unintentionally funny.
Yeah.
Did you notice that she had like a framed picture of a hurricane on her wall?
No, I didn't.
Like,
I noticed a
like,
lot
I
of
don't
her
know.
other, like, there were a lot of like silly pictures of her with human prints and dog prints.
Yeah. Because like I know people that's like a thing with their room, is that there's like pictures of spoons.
Oh yeah.
But at one point in time, I was just like looking at it and I was like, that's just a framed picture of a hurricane.
Wow. No, I did
like a
not notice that.
Doppler.
That's funny.
I was like, what the? Why would you frame that and put it on the wall?
Side note, I wonder if any other podcast has referenced Gex as much as we have.
It's a cultural touchstone on my child.
Yeah.
I'm bringing Gex back. I'm bringing Gexy back. Oh, the dog talent agency. There's just
Yeah, did you notice like the like part of the logo was like hanging off? It was drooping for the dog talent agency.
hold on. Let me look
It's
at
like not all on the door.
Yeah, I see it now.
And there's even shit like, and how he said it was that like early on, because I think because they just they had the movie completed, I think Glickman did the voice pretty much in order, like
Oh, okay.
he did the stuff at the beginning first and the stuff at the end last. And I guess like as it goes on, the director was more hands off with him, but early on she was like, no, you have to say it exactly like this. Like he said even down to like the intonation about how you'd be like he says like, no girls, no fun. And he was like, and I'd say it like, oh man, no girls, no fun. But she'd correct me and say I'd have to say it like, no girls,
Oh.
no fun. No girls, no fun. So like she was that specific. But then I guess she kind of like eased off as it went along. And that's why you get more and more of the like, oh yeah, don't here's $100. Don't use it to buy another green dress or something like that. Like, he makes fun of how much
Yeah.
green there is in the movie.
Yeah. Yeah, I did notice that. I was like, okay, this guy is sort of like ripping on the movie within the context of the movie.
It's almost like he's a character in the movie. He's like Deadpool
He's,
meets like Riff Tracks.
No,
Meets,
he's VJ Emmy.
that's what VJ Emmy.
He's
is
the
what I was
VJ
gonna say.
Emmy of this movie.
Yeah.
Another scene that I thought was great was like right before the scene where her mom and like her friend try to set her up with some dudes.
Mhm.
I noticed that the indoor ambience of the interior of the restaurant kicks in before they get inside the restaurant, and it's clear that they're talking to each other for like several lines, and you just hear the indoor ambience before they even, like, that happens several times where like you can see the characters clearly are talking to each other and saying things, and it's just silence.
Yeah, there was one where it's like a close up on her as she like kneels down to the dog, and I think what she said is like, "Where were you?" or something like that, but just no audio, just nothing.
God, I'm trying to think of other scenes. Did you notice the synchronized eating scene?
Yes.
Is it the
I like the other, because I think they sped that up there. They do this weird ass.
There are a lot of weird time. Yeah.
Shit. There's one where like she's getting dressed, and he's like watching her getting dressed, and
it's like
yeah, and then she gets dressed, and then she's in bed, like not wearing what she just put on. Like,
I was like, is that the passing of time?
I guess, yeah.
I think it's like, she's getting up in the morning, she's doing her shit, and then smash cut, she's like laying on her couch, and it's nighttime again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But the synchronized eating was so good. It was like this dinner party where, okay, so I thought like the weird Billy Ray Cyrus dude was like the manager of the clothing store, but apparently not.
He's
this
not?
other
No, I
dude.
thought he was.
Well, no, he said he was, but then she goes to this like pool party. Well, this is the guy that, I guess this is the guy that like owns the franchises. He's like, I own 5 of them.
Yeah.
And like they're having this, I think that's it. Like they're having the pool party, and they're like sitting there, or maybe it's a scene where they're at dinner. Either way, they're like all sitting at their plates, and they're just like, they lift up their fork, and they're like,
yeah,
like completely, and like they're looking at each other. It feels like, to like make sure that they're completely synchronized as they're doing it. Just like,
yeah.
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure I didn't see all of them, but Lisa doesn't even eat. She doesn't actually put anything in her mouth there. It's like, yeah, a lot of times when people are filming, you cheat and they don't actually eat the stuff. But like, if that's the shot,
There's nothing on her fork.
Yeah,
I'm watching it now.
Okay.
There's nothing on any of their forks.
Awesome. That's what I was hoping.
There's nothing on any of their forks. He almost looks like Mark Ruffalo. Like he's got Mark Ruffalo's eyes. Because I was trying to think of like, he looks familiar to me. Like I've seen him in something else, but obviously I haven't.
He looks like this person does not exist to me. Like there's just something off about his face to me.
He's got like the blonde highlights too.
Yeah. Oh my god! And then at the end, when he shows up at her apartment, and he has that weird ass fucking wig on.
Well,
like the spiky hair or whatever. It looks so bad. It might not be a wig, because I feel like if a character wearing a wig in this movie would be more obvious, but like his hair looks bad. His hair looks very bad.
Yes.
And then he's old. And then they're young again.
So yeah, okay, well, yeah, getting near the ending, as soon as I knew that they were like gonna see each other on the sidewalk and run towards each other, I was like, this dog's getting smoked by a car. That's like the most lazy, cheap way to do it. And yet I was still just like, holy shit. And then the dog, they like, I don't know what they put on this dog to like make him like, it almost looks like the fake. I felt bad. It looks like the fake blood that like we use.
Yeah. Something.
And the dog's clearly awake, just like laying there, just like, okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess the main theme of the movie is like reincarnation, I guess.
Yeah.
Cause it does like a huge time skip. Mm-hmm. I think, because her friend comes over. So it's like she puts her apartment up for rent. Nothing inside the apartment has changed. It looks
Right.
identical. Nothing is different whatsoever. But apparently she's like 30 years older because her friend comes over.
At least.
Her friend comes over with 4 kids, and she's like, I'm a grandma. And I'm like, no, you are not. How much time has passed? Because let's think about it. They're like, what, maybe in their 30s, like late 20s?
Sure,
I don't know where I'd
yeah.
put it. If you were to have a child and then that child were to be old enough to have a child, that's like 20 years at least.
Minimum. Yeah,
And
especially with how old some of those kids were.
Yeah.
They weren't old, like, maybe 7 was like the oldest one.
And I was just like, how are you a grandma? What are you talking about?
Yeah. Yeah, her friend who stopped talking to her because she had a guy at her house. And she was just like, you told me you were a virgin. I hate you. And
Yeah, you didn't tell me you had a boyfriend.
Yeah.
Because it's like I guess they put a little bit of gray in her hair. And
Yeah,
they
a
think
little
that
bit.
that's good enough.
Yeah. And she's acting the same, but then Lisa's like, oh, hello. She's talking like fucking like Winona Ryder in a Edward Scissorhands. Yeah, and then I don't know. I don't even know. Like, it's hard to follow this movie, anyways. But then you get to the ending. He shows up. He's young. He tells her who he is. He's old. They get married, and then they're both young again.
He just has the most dead eyes. I think that's what kills it. It's like the scene
Yeah.
where the first time he turns into a human and he's just like staring down like that. And then when he turns old and he's just looking at her, he just has the most like, I don't know what I'm doing, dead-eyed stare. Just like, okay, I can't believe I'm acting in this.
Yeah.
It's so funny that they're married.
Yeah.
Like, IRL.
Oh, man.
Yeah, and then it's just like the most awkward, like, again, I'm sure this would work better if there was literally any music at all, but there's not. So they just like, they kiss and then they stop, and then they kiss and then they stop, and it's like this weird time skip, like it's. And then just
nobody's
like, yeah,
there. Like, it seems like they're actually getting married for real, and nobody's there.
and then they hit you with like the Windows Movie Maker, the end.
Yeah.
Oh, and what are these credits bloopers?
Oh, yeah.
There's nothing. They're not bloopers. There's nothing.
Yeah.
It's them like setting up the dog getting hit by a car, and there's nothing funny about it.
Yeah, I was like, okay, so they're showing that, like, you know, they didn't actually kill the dog, I guess. They're like, in
Yeah,
case you
that-
were worried or something.
Yeah, that was my thought. Was just like, imagine the pile of like golden retriever carcasses that they left behind in the wake of
Yeah.
making this movie. Because like you hear horrific stories about like animal movies and just like how many animals die in the making of it. It's just
Yeah.
like piles of golden retriever carcasses. Yeah, I'm trying to look at the rest of my notes because like I don't even know, man. This is
I
one of-
really didn't have that many notes written down just because it was hard to even compartmentalize most of this shit.
oh, I did write a direct quote, right? So it's like this is when she's old and she's got her apartment up for sale, and like the reincarnated prince shows up, and he's talking to her, and he says, I have a dog training business, and naturally it's very successful.
Yeah. Yeah, all these people who can work like like the gay dude who's like, yeah, anything you want, I can provide it for you for the rest of your life. And it's like, oh yeah, you can do that working at this clothing store. And then she's like, oh no, I don't want you to work. You just need to stay here and be safe. Again, me working at a clothing store in LA, I can, provide for the both of us and everything.
Like with like the size of her apartment, that's easily like $3,000 a month.
Yeah.
And like that's 2011.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't because I don't really have any. It's really just like combing through and just. There was a point where like I looked down to check the Fortnite thread for like a minute or two. It was like the only time I like looked away from the movie. And it was probably like somewhere in that middle chunk. And I swear it wasn't more than like a minute, maybe two. But I like looked up and I was like, I feel like I missed an entire season of a TV show, like because so much shit happens in this.
Yeah.
And then after that I was like, okay, I can't afford to be distracted at all because it's so hard to follow already.
Yeah, I mean, every time I like stopped to like write something down, I had to pause the movie because it moves at such a rapid pace for no reason.
Yeah, for no reason whatsoever.
Where like it almost seems like it's edited ironically. Where like some of like the pacing of the edits to like signify the passing of time were like funny. It's almost just like they're like bap 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 bap. Who gives a shit? And they just move on to the next thing.
Yeah.
Like almost just like, yeah, that scene was dumb. Let's move on.
Yeah.
It's truly baffling. Like I was losing my shit all night last night. I was like ready to go last night. I was like, this is fresh on my mind. Like it's almost like it's like a Neil Breen movie. When we did Fateful Findings, when we recorded that episode, we were basically just watching it in real time as we were discussing it. Because it's like so many things happen that it's hard to even remember all of them.
Yeah. Yeah, it really is. Yeah, even now I'm watching it, and it's like some of this stuff in the middle, I'm like, wait, I'm watching it on mute. I'm like, I don't remember what was happening here already.
I feel there's like a lot of weird like Dutch angles that are that just give you a sense of like it's just ominous and uncanny and unsettling.
Yeah.
And again, none of it's really intentional. I don't think it's intended to be
scary.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not supposed to be scary, obviously, but yeah. Yeah, there's a scene, there's a shot in particular, I remember, where she has her hand on the steering wheel, and she has like her head down. She's like, I don't know if she's crying or whatever. And then he grabs her hand, and then the camera tilts like on an axis to like get to their faces. And it's like, it does like a Dutch angle. It's like, if this was supposed to be a scary scene, that'd like almost kind of be a cool shot, but it's just supposed to be two people talking. Like,
yeah,
it's yeah, it doesn't make sense.
One final thing before we move on. The ducks.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Because I think I got it. I think I understood what was going on.
Okay.
Because I think it was supposed to be like, I don't think it was like necessarily like the ugly duckling, but it was like, I think ducks are animals that like mate for life.
Wow.
But it was like after he's like, okay, I have to just leave. I can't be with her anymore. It's like a single duck floating. Like for a while but it's just like it cuts back to these ducks so often.
Yeah.
Like this movie has more of an obsession with ducks than like Tony Soprano. Like in that first episode in his pool with the ducks. But it's just like they cut to it so much. And it's like, yeah, I think that's what that was supposed to be. But it's like, man, they really relied on it.
Damn. I'm amazed that you pulled something out of the
I'm trying. It's desperation.
Okay. Yeah, I'm good if we want to do our judgment, past judgment on this.
Yeah. I can go first here. I mean, on the dud to spud range, this is 100% a spud.
Mm-hmm.
This is, I don't know, man. This might be, in my mind, this might unseat Ben and Arthur.
Oh, really?
As I feel like they're similar.
Mm-hmm.
These movies have that similar quality of just like some weirdo auteur filmmaker who has no idea what they're doing, hires a bunch of like desperate actors to read their uncanny script, and this is their result. Like it's so weird because like you look at the movie art, and it kind of looks like one of those. It kind of looks like it could fall into like any other like talking dog movie. Like the movie art kind of looks normal. It looks normal, almost.
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh yeah, okay, this is like a dumb talking dog movie. I've seen these before.
Although that's not a gold retriever. I just noticed. That looks like a lab. That looks like Lisa though.
It's a different dog. Yeah, kinda. Yeah, it is. I would. Oh man, can you imagine like some like suburban middle class family goes to Walmart and they're like, what do we want to watch tonight? And they like go to like the Walmart bin and there's one of those like 4 movie collection DVDs that's like a talking animal collection, and this is one of the because this is
awesome.
Okay. Because I think the talking dog genre is typically like a kid's movie genre. And this movie, there's like rape scenes. It's very sexual. It's I was like, God damn, this is like a talking dog movie. And it's like, I don't even know if this is rated, but it's like very raunchy and like sexual and adult.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's such a weird avenue.
I said out loud, I was like, who is this movie for? What's the audience for this movie?
It's us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
But long story short, this is a spud. This movie is insane. I mean, I guess it kind of drags a little bit in the middle. Anytime you're really not hearing like Stephen Kramer Glickman doing his dog stuff, it kind of drags a little bit. But
a little bit.
It's pure insanity cranked up. So 100% all-American spud for me.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Total spud. I guess I'd have to watch. I'm still thinking for me, Ben and Arthur is still tops.
Okay.
Maybe I'd rewatch it and reassess. This one is
Ben
just
and
like
Arthur's more coherent, I guess.
Yeah, really. Yeah, it's. I mean, in terms of like most baffling, this might have it. And it's like it's hard to pin down in the way that like, I mean, different. I guess Vampire's Kiss was a little different because Vampire's Kiss is like, it feels like an actual movie at the very least.
Yeah, there's at least cinematography in that.
Yeah. But like just I remember like watching that and feeling like, man, I don't know like how to feel about it, and kind of like that with this, but more just the choices that are made and like how it's presented and how it's executed. It's one of the most bizarre things I've ever seen. It is. Yeah, it's I think it's a sight to behold. This is one where like I would, yeah, if you have not seen it, it's one of the highest recommendations I could give like any movie. The good ones are all on YouTube. This is on YouTube for free. Ben and Arthur is on YouTube for free. Who Killed Captain Alex is on YouTube for free. Like that's where the good shit is. Is you just look to YouTube. They got the gems.
Yeah.
Don't like pay for like a $2.99 rental on Amazon for fucking Bedeviled or something.
Any of those like dog shit, like trying to be ironically bad movies do not hold a candle to this.
Yeah.
This is like a movie that you couldn't replicate if you tried. You couldn't make it if you tried.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it so special and bizarre.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, Love on a Leash. Good old potato-based dog treat. That's my spudgement.
Yeah. Spudge Dread.
Yeah. And speaking of something you just said, but I forgot. Here's an ad break. Are we back?
Yeah. I'm thinking we're back.
Yeah. That was a genuine yawn. It's getting pretty late here.
Yeah, sleepy time.
Just we finished the inaugural season, I guess, of The Last of Us. Wrapped
The
up.
hit HBO series.
Yeah. This week. And it was solid. I don't think I was ever like in love with the show, but it's definitely like compelling. It was always like maybe almost like, no, I mean, I guess I would say I like Succession more, but it was kind of that same feeling where I was like, maybe I felt a little more compelled to watch this than I am with Succession, but my relationship with Succession is like me and Cleo would like watch when we were catching up with it.
Yeah.
We'd like watch an episode, and then sometimes we'd be like, do you want to watch another one? Yeah, sure. And we'd have a good time. Or we'd just be like, okay, that's it for now. And then we wouldn't watch another episode for like 2 weeks. And that was okay too. And I kind of felt like a similar way with Last of Us, where it's like, it was a good time when I watched it, but I was never like, oh man, I gotta watch the next episode. And maybe it was partly because I know the whole story of the first one, of the first game. So maybe that played into it a little bit.
Yeah, that was like, because like I'm currently playing the game, and at the time of this recording, I haven't even gotten to Sam and Henry. I'm at the spot where like your car crashes, and you're like, I think it's in the game. It's like Philadelphia.
Yeah, the Kansas City. Yeah,
I'm in that segment.
Okay.
Which, like, you know, I remember people sort of like bitching about the show, like about the lack of infected or like the lack of like violence and that kind of shit. It's like, yeah, well, I'm just playing the game, and I'm just like, again, I'm enjoying the game, but it's just like, go in a room, brutally murder a bunch of dudes, move to a next segment, brutally murder a bunch of dudes. Like, that doesn't necessarily make for good TV. So, like, in some ways, I'm kind of glad that they didn't, like, especially focus on making Joel, like, I feel like Joel would be a much less sympathetic character in the show if he was, like, knifing every person that he met in the neck or throwing Molotov cocktails at them until they burn alive. Because that's what you do in the game. You just, you destroy every single person who stands in your way.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
It's one of those shows where, like, I'm trying really hard not to compare it to like Everything Everywhere, but it's like that sort of like audience being introduced to something, like Marvel audience being introduced to like a really well done multiverse movie, and then it's like incel video game dudes being introduced to prestige TV, where it's like, this is the first thing. They're like, oh yeah, no, I love that game, I'm gonna watch the show, and they're like, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. This episode is the greatest episode of television I've ever seen. And it's like, if you're on a healthy diet of prestige shows that you've seen a million times, you're like, yeah, no, they're hitting all the marks. It's a very serviceable prestige show, but I don't think it's anything that's like mind-blowingly good. Like, it's good. Sure. I liked it. Yeah. I had a fun time with it.
Yeah.
But it doesn't make me feel things the way that like a show like Better Call Saul, Breaking Bad, The Sopranos. Like, it doesn't make you feel anything like those types of shows do. But it's still very good. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. It's like it's really well done. The performance, like, a lot of really good acting in it.
Pedro and Bella do a lot of heavy lifting. I feel like those like if those two characters weren't good, the whole thing would fall flat. But the relationship between those two is like what really kind of holds the whole thing together.
And that is like the crux of the game too. It's like that relationship has to work. So yeah, they got the important stuff down. I was gonna say, I did probably my favorite episode was maybe the second to last one, because I don't think I did know about that story. With
the David story.
Yeah, that was cool. And plus you got Troy Baker was in that episode too, and that was kind of a cool thing. I mentioned this when we first talked about it, comparing it to The Leftovers, because The Leftovers is another show that does those sort of in The Last of Us, there's 2 episodes where it's kind of like a side story.
Yes.
Where the third episode is the one where it's like Nick Offerman and the other guy.
Yeah, Bill and Frank.
Who are not in any other episode. They're just in that one. It's a side thing about these characters that just it's a one-off. And then the 7th episode is about
Left Behind. That's like that's the DLC that came out.
Yeah. It's about Ellie and then her friend who dies at the end of it. But it's kind of so that one has like one of the main characters, but it's also kind of a side story. It takes place before the show.
Yeah.
But the both of those episodes, they weren't bad by any means, but I was just like, I just want to get back to the story. I don't care as much about this, but with The Leftovers, that was some of the best shit on that show, was when they did those side story episodes. So I don't know what the key is. Maybe it's just that I'm just more interested. I just like Joel and Ellie. It's one of those where like I mostly just care about those characters.
Yeah, and they're dynamic in their relationship. Because, I don't know, I feel like with how much material they do have with the show, they probably could have, like, made a couple more episodes. Probably. Like,
yeah.
Like, I think the source material was there. Because, like, the finale was, like, 43 minutes. It was short.
Yeah,
it was tight.
I was surprised, yeah.
And with the finale, from what I've gathered, because, like, I listened to the like the HBO podcast hosted by Troy Baker.
Too. Yeah.
And it's one of those things where like I was like, yeah, that was a pretty good 45 minutes of television. But listening to the podcast is like, this clearly means way more. Like, these guys had so much more fun making this and doing this than like we did as viewers. That I was like, yeah, I get that. I get it. Like I almost like feel like it's more meaningful because it meant so much to them. Where they're like, oh, okay, I kind of see like why you like it. You know, it's like, oh, okay, all these kind of like ideas behind the motivations and like the ideas behind the show. You know, is good. Yeah.
And compared to like, I guess the other big one that just ended, but like The Walking Dead, it's like leagues better than that.
Yeah.
Even the first season or first couple seasons, when I was like actually like into that show, I was always in denial. Like that show never really clicked for me. I think I was just so fucking starved for like zombie shit back then. But then like very quickly after that, it
was perfect time. Like
it was.
Like zombie shit was at its height when that came out.
So it was just like, oh, it has zombies in it. Yeah, I want to watch it. But yeah, now I'm like, but no, Walking Dead is like, I don't think there's like a good season of it. Maybe that first one's like the closest to being a good one, and maybe I'm just saying that because that Frank Darabont did that one, and I'm like, I don't want to besmirch him too much.
Yeah, is before it like at least like jumped the shark, I guess.
Yeah.
Which, like, yeah, I feel like with The Last of Us, like, I think that was like a complaint that a lot of people had, was that there's not enough infected. There's not enough like of the zombie element of the show.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, what do you need? Do you need him just like mowing down faceless enemies? Like, it does.
Yeah.
What does that really do? Because like, again, it's the relationship between those two characters with the backdrop of like the zombie apocalypse. But it's like the forefront of what your attention should be is this relationship between this father and a daughter, and then he loses his daughter and he kind of gets this like surrogate daughter back, and you know, it kind of culminates in him making this big decision that I think kind of propels the next series, which I don't know how much you know about like the second game.
I mean, I know. Yeah.
Yeah,
I know the major beats, and I know the motivation of the villain character, I guess.
Right, which is funny, because we were talking about cameos of like actors from the game, which Troy Baker was in. He was in the David episode. The voice actress and physical actress who plays Ellie was the pregnant mom in the last episode, but also one of the nurses, like when Joel comes in and shoots the doctor and takes Ellie off the table, one of the nurses was the voice actress and physical actress for Abby.
Okay, yeah, I think they said that in like the post episode, the little like behind the scenes thingy. Yeah, I thought
so. Like, she didn't really have
any
any speaking roles, but apparently she sent like a selfie to Neil Druckmann with like the doctor who was like laying dead on the ground, and she did like one of those kind of selfies, which is funny.
That's funny.
Yeah, I don't know. I watched a couple like video essay. You know, Nakey Jakey? Yeah, I watched his like video essay on The Last of Us Part 2. It was, I think it's called like Naughty Dog's gameplay is outdated.
Yeah, I watched that
like
a long time ago. Yeah,
and I was like, I don't know if I want to play this game now.
The second one or the first?
Second one.
Oh,
I really like the first one.
Yeah,
but I don't know. I guess if we're going into like spoilers for the second game, not too much, but it just seems like from like the video essay that I watched, it seems like they kind of reduced Ellie to just like a violence machine, and like her character was flattened to the point of just like this game is supposed to be a meditation about like the cycle of violence and forgiveness, but it's just like like that idea doesn't run concurrent with the gameplay, which is just kill anything and everything that happens to be like that you see on the screen. So I'll be curious to see how they handle the second season, knowing kind of like the second game's like, I guess, fairly controversial storyline. I mean you had your normal like, this game's gone woke kind of criticisms, because I think Abby is sort of a trans mask type character where like
there's another character in it that is trans too.
Okay.
I forget
because I noticed like
but
Abby is like a female character, but is just like like a beefcake.
Yeah.
So like they're inserting all of these politics, these
and
like
Ellie's
woke
gay, and she's a girlfriend in that one, and
So I mean, who knows? Maybe the second season will be amazing, because I think with the first season they were like, okay, this worked for the game, but for television, here's how we adapt it. So maybe they'll take the second game, and now that they've kind of got a few years under their belt of seeing how people have responded, what people liked, what people didn't like, and they can be like, okay, here's how we make a good season of television out of this.
That would be nice. I hope that's my hope, is like, I don't want them to dig their heels in and being like, no, because, you know, the second game did get a lot of backlash, but the game developers kind of stood by it.
Yeah.
But I don't want them to dig their heels in too much and be like, no, we have to do it exactly like it.
Yeah, or else the incels win.
Yeah. Maybe. Yeah, I think there is maybe a happy medium where it could be stronger. And of course, I don't have like quite as strong feelings as people who like, played the first one when it came out and waited all that time and then were kind of burned on the second one. I get that feeling, like, if you're slighted or you play it and it's like not great after playing like, one of the best games ever, you'd probably feel extra hurt.
Right.
But I've heard like the reasoning, like why they went with that story and like the development of Ellie, and like I respect that too. There's like, again, just from somebody who hasn't played it, but so yeah, I don't know. I think there's a way to do it that could make most people happy. I won't say everyone, because there's definitely people who are just gonna not like it. They're gonna like refuse to enjoy it. I told Kalia, she was like, was that the end of the season? I was like, yeah, and it's probably like the end of the show. I was like, you don't need to watch anymore. And she's like, why? And I was just like, you don't want to watch any more of the show. And she was like, oh, she got what I was saying.
Yeah, I mean,
she's a Pedro stan, so.
Yeah, it was kind of funny because there was like a few tweets about it that was like, Bella's excited to be back on the show and hang out with Pedro for a little bit, and people are like, yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. And I'm like, although how long could they stretch it? Maybe 2 episodes.
Yeah,
but that would probably be the way to end the season premiere, is end it with that.
Yeah, and I mean, from what I've kind of seen, I feel like there's a lot of like flashbacks. Like the game kind of takes,
that's true.
There's a lot of time jumps. So like, you could still use Pedro for like the entire season and just kind of, I feel like you could do some really devastating shit with him and like flashbacks and just like put him in scene. Like, she's just walking around and she just sees him there. Like it's sort of like because I think that was like the trailer, which like I'm a sucker for reveal trailers. I don't know if you've ever watched any of these before. Just like you're at E3, and it would be the equivalent of like us sitting at like E3 and Nintendo's like doing their trailer, and they're like, oh, we have one more thing, and then you hear the Metroid Prime music playing.
Right,
you're like,
yeah.
Whoa. There's like a reveal trailer for like The Last of Us Part 2 where people are kind of like watching it, and you just kind of see some landscape shots, and then like the camera pulls out and you see the Fireflies logo on a stop sign, and everyone in the crowd is like, oh, like they're losing their shit. So it's like, there's room for like that kind of shit where like they could do it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm looking forward to the second season, but I'm not like, I'm okay with waiting until yeah, we'll see. I'll be watching it when it comes out, and I guess we'll see how the season unfurls.
We'll stick a pin in it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of shows coming to an end this year.
Like what else?
Like Succession and Barry are both two shows that are like ending this spring.
Yeah.
Which is good. I don't know. I feel like, both of those shows feel like they're at their final season, where it's like anything else that you do is just prolonging the end of this show's like natural conclusion.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
It's like, Barry's in jail. What else can you do?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like they're probably gonna end like right around the same time, so that'll be interesting couple weeks or whatever.
Yeah.
But we have a movie for next week.
All right.
I already pulled it.
Back on track.
It's well, we did one of these guys' movies very recently. From 2006, directed by Martin Scorsese. The Departed. Yeah.
Hell yes. We just watched this one not too long ago.
Oh, nice.
Hell yes. That's exciting. because we watched it not too long ago, and spoilers, it holds up pretty well for me. It was pretty great. So,
Nice.
do you have
It's on a lot
the
of
Infernal Affairs in the cup?
I believe I do. Yeah.
Because I would love to see the original like film that this is based on.
Do you want to do a double feature?
Perhaps.
Perhaps.
Just, I guess maybe because I've seen The Departed so recently, it's not going to be like I need to watch it to remember.
Uh-huh.
You know?
Oh,
yeah.
So you could just watch Infernal Affairs.
I'd probably watch The Departed again though,
Yeah.
just for my own sake. I don't know. We could do a double feature.
I'm personally, as long as you're up for it, especially now since I'm trying to watch a movie a day anyways. Oops.
Have you seen
Said a
the
few more.
Infernal Affairs?
I have not seen Infernal Affairs yet.
Oh, okay.
So I love kind of any sort of like excuse to do, like when we did Hot Rod, I watched Pop Star.
Yeah, and we talked a
And-
lot about Popstar.
Yeah. So any sort of like excuse to watch like kind of related stuff.
Yeah.
I'm up
Okay.
for it. So yeah, let's do a
do
double
that.
feature. Plus The Departed is such a like it's such a important movie to me, to us. So it deserves it. Okay,
Yeah.
so we're going to do a double feature next week. We're going to do so Infernal Affairs is from 2002 and is directed by Andy Lau and Alan Mock. It is available for rent on Redbox. And then The Departed, Martin Scorsese, 2006. It's on HBO Max, Hulu, and then it's for rent on YouTube, Apple TV, and more. So yeah, watch those if you don't want to be spoiled for them before next week's episode. These episodes come out every Wednesday at 7 p.m. EST on Twitch and YouTube in video form, as well as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and more in audio form. We also have social pages on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. And with all that said, I'm your co-host, and I'm a dog, and it's really late, and I'm tired because I'm a dog, and my name is TJ, aka J Spot Jack Cheese, because I'm a dog, and with me as always.
Did that taste Japanesey?
Is that a line?
That is a line.
Holy shit.
Yeah. I think it was when the dog was like sniffing through the clothes or something like that. It was rough. I was like, holy shit, dude. Nick, aka Dr. Funk on Twitch.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.